Alright, now we're going to carve out some from the top here, above this cheekbone to bring this cheekbone out. So I'm going to look at both my pieces, both sides here. I think I could use a little bit of clay right here before I get started. Just a little bit. A little bit, just a little bit. Okay. Okay. Alright. So now I'm going to check the measurements. And now I'm going to make this mark first. So behind that eye socket on the outer edge, it's about the width of my thumb. So I'm going to just mark that. Then I think I can almost just do about the same thing here. Yep, just about. Now I'm going to check. I'm going to double check. I'm going to triple check. I'm going to quadruple check. And you're going to check more times than I do. Okay, so now I'm ready to carve this out. So I want you to watch. Watch, always, duh. Alright, so here it's really shallow. It goes shallow. So it's not a deep, it's not like a crevice that's like sharp, it's not a deep space right here. Nor is it a deep space here. It is a deep space there. So I'm going to use a straight edge of a tool here. I'm going to bring it down lightly and start bringing it a little bit heavier. Pull that out. Turn my tool and go deep and then shallow. Then I'm going to take my thumb and I'm just going to take the rest of that out. Kind of smooth it in there. I'm not going to worry about the details here until I've got the placement correct. So go ahead and do that now. I'm going to do the other side if you need to watch again. Okay, so I've got that finger width or that thumb width there. And then about there. And it's going to stop right about there. So bring my tool in, have the straight edge touching this part here. So it's shallow first, and then deeper, and then pop that piece of clay out, and deep, and then shallow. Then I'm going to take my thumb and push the rest of that clay back and smooth it in. Okay, now I can look at some of the more detailed areas on this part of the bone. So it kind of dips in here a little bit dipped in there. It's a little bit fatter right there. And then here, smooths in. It's a nice smooth connection there. And then I'm going to squeeze this together to make this a little bit more rounded instead of geometric. I want it to be a little bit more organic now. So when I'm sculpting, I always start with a geometric, or I'm sorry, yes, I always start with geometric. I always try to find the most geometric lines and shapes I can within that organic shape. And then I start turning it into the organic shape on that. Alright. Oh, Helga, you're looking good. Darling, you look marvelous. Okay. Double check everything again. Check, 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 check. Looking at my angles. I'm going to need to come back and add some more here. It's not quite wide enough back here. And I'm never done. I'm always looking at the angles, always looking at what I've already done. And remember to use the board to try to get measurements with. Look for geometric shapes, and then we turn them into organic shapes. Work general to specific. Alrighty. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next step. So tools are down. Super focus on the screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm going to measure now from the front of the chin. And measure from the chin to this first negative space right here. So I can actually do that from the board pretty easily too. Yep, that works. So I'm going to hold my finger there, Make a line right there. And then I'm going to double check because that totally looks wrong. That's totally wrong. That was not right. Alright, now I'm also noticing that if I draw a line straight up, that it's more under this bone here than it is under the eye socket. And where I had it was right under the eye socket. So it's further back. It's more like the side of this cheekbone where it ties into the eye socket. Then I'm going to measure. This time I have to get down and I'm going to close one eye, get my fingers marking where the front of the teeth are, bring it over and right about there and draw a line down. That's my diagonal line. Then from that point, let me double check this again. From here, measure it from that last point. Now I'm going to measure it from the front of the cheekbone back, and yeah, it's more like here. Yeah. Oh, that's what's awesome about drawing into it before you actually make the cut, because that's so easy just to wipe out a line. You cut it out and you just created yourself an issue. Then straight down from here, I'm just going to go straight down. Then I'm going to use my tool. I'm going to use that straight edge against the straight edge and start pulling this out. Now I am not going to try to go all the way through. I'm going to go all the way through, Miss Littlefinger? No, man. That would be silly. When we start to carve it out, that's when we'll get all the way through. So you just need to show where that mark is. And then notice here it's curved. So then start carving that out into more of a curve shape. Okay, go ahead and do that now. Notice I'm using the side of my flat edge wire tool. I come in here at a little bit of an angle just to make it wrap around, go under instead of kind of flare out a little bit. On this side you can see where it kind of flares out a little bit, and obviously the skull does not do that. Okay, now let's mark where these two holes are. So right here underneath this little area that we curved on this cheekbone, that curve on the cheekbone, that's where this little hole is. So this is really super easy. Just take a loop tool, a loop wire tool, and go right underneath this piece here and just go whoop and pull it out. And then you can kind of make it a little bit wider at the opening, the first one, and then the second one, you can feel this if you put your tongue behind your teeth. Go ahead and try that now. Put your tongue behind your teeth so you can feel what this is. And it is right about halfway between the eye here, so I'm going to just draw a line down there, and then at about the cheekbone there, I've got about a thumb's width here, and it goes all the way up to that cheekbone. So I'm going to take that and curve it. Notice it doesn't go up this part, and then I can press that in and smooth out those lines. Okay, go ahead and make that mark. Make your marks first, sketch in lines, help yourself figure out where things are, and then carve that in. Now, at the beginning of this process, I was not smoothing things out. I was just finding where things are. I'm like putting big chunks on, pushing stuff around. But now we're getting to the part where we can start smoothing things out, and you can start adding some of this detail in. So don't bother putting in all the cracks. Now, if you've got some time, if you're waiting on others to get caught up and you got a little bit of time, you can start drawing on where things go, and it's going to help you in the long run. But don't be upset if you rub those out later as you're working on carving it out. If you've got little details like this back here, you can start carving some of those details in. And just remember, guys, if you're following the directions and you're measuring and measuring and measuring again, and then measuring and measuring again, then if it's looking like a skull and it's not perfectly exactly like the other skull, that's okay. I don't actually want you all to be machines. That would be kind of a drag. Okay, so At this point, I just want you to go over all the pieces. Make sure that you're measuring. Did I mention that? Oh, I probably should have told you like a while ago. Measure. Did I not say that already? Measure, measure, measure. You're measuring everything, and you're getting this rounded out. So in the back of the skull, round this out here. Make sure that's coming in. On this one, it needs a little bit more added in through here. And double check all your measurements. You're not making any changes before you measure. You're going to spend way more time taking measurements on this skull than you are making changes to this skull. Make sure that your eyes come back here. Make sure that you're measuring so that the eyes are further back than the bridge of the nose and the inside of the eyes. The nose, make sure that the bridge of the nose starts in the middle of the eye, and where you start making the negative space here, that's the bottom of the eye. This is extremely important, this curve right here. That is so important. Alright, then you can start smoothing it out. Smoothing it out with your fingers, but also you can use the fettling knife. So clean off that fettling knife, and then you can use the side of it to start smoothing it out.